presentation. It's a workshop, which essentially means that we're here to talk and exchange about our marketing and our marketing strategy. Voilà, what else? My name is John Schultz, for the ones who do not know me, and oh, here's a journal.
I don't second what Charles is doing when the terminal is over.
And all I'm saying here is that I've been working for LibreOffice marketing and quite some time now, and I'm currently handling the social media action, at least most of them, a great deal of them, let's say, for LibreOffice on a daily basis. But in fact, this is not really about me because this is a workshop, so I was thinking about doing some introduction. However, I also noticed that we sort of know almost everyone, or we know each other, so, and we're quite a lot of people, so I suggest that we may skip part, because otherwise, well, I don't know. It's all. Do you need introductions? No. That's what I thought.
So you are 9 different persons at the same time?
No, not me. It's introductions, not introduction.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'd like to make perhaps to enter in the workshop itself one quick briefing about this past year's achievements. I probably did forget some of them, but so feel free to add to it. So at least to me, but that's obviously my own personal myopia. We got a new website. The reception, let's say, was pretty good. In fact, it was really good in terms of feeling and aesthetics. We're currently, or the native language teams are currently migrating to this new website. There are some issues that are being addressed at the moment with respect to specific elements. Obviously, the website is, especially these days, a living environment, a living framework. So it needs content refresh and regular content refresh. With respect to social media, I would say the most striking pattern this year that hadn't really started before, but this was really good for this year, is the growth of our spread of our social media action. Basically, I'm going to start with the social networks themselves. So we have a Facebook page which is growing in audience. We have, and that's quite interesting, a LibreOffice Google Plus community, which is also growing, but with the difference that the Google Plus community is really starting to have, so to speak, a life of its own. People are posting on it, people are discussing it, they're talking about LibreOffice. Sometimes it's user support, sometimes it's questions about LibreOffice, and sometimes it's general discussions surrounding LibreOffice. Facebook itself is much more passive, which is also a very interesting thing. It's not so much a social network for us. We just post stuff there, content, at least that's what happens. And then there are hundreds of people who like. They press the like button. That's what they do. It makes them happy. But it allows them to be happy. It allows us to spread our message. Reddit is growing. We have a LibreOffice Reddit page, Reddit channel. It's growing. Used to be there for quite some time, but was extremely discreet. We're happy to mention that it's getting a little bit better. Then we have what we did. In fact, it was actually quite a collective effort here. We opened the LibreOffice Twitter account. Now, this might be a surprise because you might think, well, didn't you know better than actually having and opening the Twitter account for LibreOffice before. We had it, but at the very beginning, for various reasons that seemed to be really cool and making sense at that time, we had decided that we would only be tweeting from our document foundation. So you can go to tdf.org right now, which is the document foundation account, and you will see that we do effectively tweet, but we have tried to separate a little bit the kind of content and the kind of communication we're doing. So the @LibreOffice Twitter account is not the same these days. So what you can see the tdf.org account. tdf.org is now mostly used for official announcements, especially. Basically, the document foundation is talking, so to speak. That's the idea behind tdf.org. LibreOffice tweets every day, several times, sometimes except Sundays. It kind of depends. At least you get some tweets. Basically, it talks about LibreOffice features. It talks about tips on how to use LibreOffice. It talks about general news surrounding LibreOffice, fun facts, exchanges, discussions on Twitter, etc., etc. As a result, we went from 0, I think it was in January, to several thousands of followers until this day, and that's pretty good, considering that we have not hired any fuzzy PR for this. So we have to thank the team behind that. Other accomplishments, we now have a better coordination of our press releases and the coordination of the releases themselves, the software releases themselves, which means we work better as a community with respect to the native language teams, the APR author, and generally speaking, the community and the coordination. We're not exactly there yet, but we have significantly improved.
Yes. The latest two announcements, we have distributed them, I think, in 15 different language versions. Of course, every version goes to the relevant journalists, but we have more, unfortunately, we have more local mailing lists than translations. For instance, we have mailing lists for all the Nordics, and we have been able only to distribute the Finnish version. Not the Swedish, not the Norwegian, and the Danish, of course, because Life is providing the Danish. But out of four countries, we have been able only to distribute 2 press releases in the native language. Of course, English in Sweden is perfectly acceptable, but if you receive that in Swedish, it's even better.
Which leads us to existing challenges and issues. So what I've listed there is entirely personal, and actually it's not the purpose of this workshop to have me doing all the talking. It's also new people in the room. So very quickly, just what Italo said, or really hinted at, the marketing team is actually very small, and we need to grow this marketing team. We need more content production. That's a general remark. Someone, I think it was William, came this year and with the project of having, he started to produce a weekly newsletter. The form was not overly optimal, but it is a large undertaking, and this should not be up to one individual or one volunteer to do that full time. It cannot be. The whole point of the newsletter is not exactly that we expect people outside the LibreOffice project to read it, but it's that anything from a newsletter to a Elixir-style news platform would be used for the general project to know about what's going on in various other parts of the LibreOffice project. We feel that's very important, and we feel precisely there's a lack of information, and therefore a lack of inbound marketing in the project, and we need to address this. So yes, that we need online tools to keep everyone informed. On a more traditional level, we still suffer from a lack of brand awareness. Now, it's been several years, I'm saying this, it's been several years, Italian is saying just about the same. It is all right. In fact, brand awareness is not a given. It is never a given unless you have become such a hallmark of, let's say, your own industry that for quite some time your brand name will be recognized everywhere. Today, LibreOffice is doing well as a brand, but we still face lots of people who have not heard about LibreOffice. Basically, have never heard about it. They probably have heard about OpenOffice, but generally, there are less people who have heard about LibreOffice. There are some strong suggestions that this can be perceived and tailored and broken down by geographies. Basically, we're doing better in Europe, for instance. We're doing quite well in Japan, but in the US, for instance, we're not doing well at all.
We're doing very well in Brazil.
We're well, but Brazil, we're better than their soccer teams.
When you look at the fact that the marketing team is very small,
Yeah.
You can approach it in various ways. One is, for example, Brazil. There was some reasoning why the people stepped in. From the psychological point of view approach, you may say, well, maybe people first need to have some problem, to experience some personal problem. Developers, open source developers, they step in the problem when they step in some code. When they find it a problem for them, then that's a motivation. So when people find there is some problem, something that they want to address, and if there is an opportunity, a way that the work that people can do, the small steps, that becomes a sort of a child of them, that they feel really, oh, that's something that I'm doing, that I'm responsible for, though it might be little and might need some more love to grow. But if you find approaches like that, if you can think of ways to make that a seed in the community, I think that could be an opportunity to help people stepping in, and once they did a little thing, that they feel, okay, I might stay here and put some more energy in later on.
Are you suggesting that we use some sort of easy hacks for marketing and then ensuring that we're following up with the people? Or
when you do easy hacks that implies that you start with mentioning easy hacks. Imagine that you say we need a sticker or a flyer or a cap or whatever, and you want to get people involved. Maybe it's a good opportunity to do a price draw. How you mentioned that before the day. And that you just get some random ideas from over the world. Let's say 5, and maybe 3 are great, and maybe you can then say, okay, well, why not a different approach for Australia than for Canada or whatever, and that you and not by and then more encouraging people than trying to centralize the process. Because when you say, oh, there's something, and oh, it's your child, it's your process, then people tend to be more caring than when some other people take it over. But it's just some general thoughts, and it's complicated, because how do you trigger people to step in?
Exactly. I mean, it's really a matter of engaging people. It's a matter of engaging people.
Making people feel
at home,
that they have the opportunity to get engaged.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's hard. Let me tell you one of my experience in the late stage of 2013. Somewhere around, I think it was October, I decided to try to audit whether there was any real breaking point with our existing website. I mean, the one that was before. So, we created forums for people, and we asked them questions about the website. And what was really interesting, and I do not pretend for the moment that the poll, the survey itself, was scientific by any means. But at least there was a survey, and certainly people were invited to chime in and say, you should ask this and that question. What was really interesting is that there was maybe not a geography, but certainly a medium, a differentiation by medium. Basically, you would turn to the English-speaking user lists, and the feedback was bad. But the feedback wasn't bad necessarily on the website. What was really interesting was that list said, you don't need to do a survey for the website, because any survey is actually biased. Okay. So we submitted at the same time the same survey project to the Facebook page and the Google Plus page. And the answer was, oh yeah, sure, we would love to answer your survey. Where is it? And have you thought about this? And so it was, I still do, I'm not sure what to do with that. Because the difference was so striking that it's surely that it must mean something.
Well, it could mean when you work in a community, in an open community, there are all types of people with different objectives, with different habits, or whatever. It might have just been that one or two of the websites stepped in with a strong opinion on surveys and set the tone of the whole discussion. Yeah. And when someone else would have been there in the wake and, sort of mangled or tackled that thread and said, oh, that's great, let's park it, or we meet next week and let's discuss it, but now that maybe it would have been possible to cut that, but maybe not. But
it was not the objective to cut anything, it was still the objective.
No, the objective was to get serious feedback. Exactly. And when a discussion goes about the usefulness or not of a public survey, you don't get serious feedback on your website. Exactly. So, but that's one of the difficulties in of course, an open community. Yeah. And, with all the piles of stuff that we need to handle and the different subjects we have to look at, it's not possible to manage all, but
absolutely. So, on these existing challenges and issues, as you noticed, there's one more thing. I've noted a more budget for traditional ads. This morning I mentioned the fact that for some reason an ad had been run in the site's newspaper, paper edition, and that the results on our download rate had been exactly 0, which is really, really bizarre. We had a surge in pages and visits on About Us pages or pages about the document foundation, but not on the download rate. At least it did not show any sort of increase.
Can you tell a bit of details about the ad? Had it a quick tag? How do you consider
I do not know, because it was purely a German, it was a German thing. So if
they offered us the page,
they offered us, but I've not really, the ad was supposed to be simple. I do not have it on me.
No.
Okay.
No, it was done in, let's say, in a couple of days by the German community, because it was kind of last minute offer that we got. Of course, if a daily offers you an alpha page, you get it anyway for free. You get it anyway. But we were expecting, so that probably Florian will be more able to answer that, and we can maybe ask him tomorrow.
The other, of
course, was about LibreOffice, so we discussed that in English but we didn't see the German output.
And certainly at the end it was written www.libreoffice.org.
Yeah, of course, it was LibreOffice is a free office product. You can it's a productivity, it's advanced. So the typical messages were the usual ones. It was there was, I think, also a graphic working on that. So it was not just text. There were images, and of course at the end there was downloading. There was the usual downloading at LibreOffice.org.
But you know, the most important thing in the advertising is repetition.
Yeah.
So where's your budget?
No, exactly.
No, of course, but you know, at least to see a 10% increase in download from Germany is something that
For
we may.
what advertising?
Sorry. Georg, you would like to say something?
Maybe one day, just one day.
Sorry, Georg.
So if I understood it correctly, you say you saw a rise in traffic but not in downloads.
Yes.
Exactly.
In my personal view, that would mean that this was the first contact for quite a few people,
Yeah.
because messaging theory typically says you need to see something multiple times before you make a decision on it, which to me means you just, whatever bump you had in there is the number of first contacts with LibreOffice. But not all of them will immediately download. Sure, you know, it needs a constant repetition and being added. But actually, it sounds to me, because someone who knows LibreOffice wouldn't necessarily go to the website because they've already been there.
Yeah.
They know what's on the website. So I think there's a good chance that actually you gave people their first contact point. If you give them 2 to 3, perhaps 4 more, you might find a conversion to downloads.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not to the same channel, but anyway, if the same person now sees it somewhere else, they're more likely to
No,
click on it.
definitely yes, but this also shows how the impact of advertising has decreased over the last few years.
Because Firefox ran an ad in the New York Times and then ran it for how many days? One?
Yeah, one day.
One edition.
Yeah, but that's again might have had more context before in the media covering it, like you know,
I
Firefox better security than Internet Explorer, something like those kinds of
Yeah, Firefox, by the way, was 10 years ago, so I think
yeah, it was 10 years ago.
it changed a mark.
But the Firefox thing, I know I participated, I donated some money, but that was driven by the community. Like, we all shared in the ads, we bought the ads. There was just like a big fundraiser for the ad.
So you mean there was already a storytelling
Right.
before the ad?
And word spread throughout all of New York that the ad was going to be in there and compete against, you know, export. So it was a very good campaign, a lot of awareness behind the scenes.
Yes.
I have a little addition. I organize events and concerts in the Netherlands, and experience we have is that if we run with an ad, we do it approximately 4 or 5 times, around every week. Approximately between 2 or 3 weeks before the event, you see the actual conversion starting to come from ads. And these are not only ads in papers, because we cannot measure conversion of that, but also conversion from ads on websites. 2 things are important: repetition, but also creating a sense of urgency. How can you create a sense of urgency in relation to an office suite? I don't know. Maybe trying to combine it with a new release by that other big commercial suite might be an incentive for people.
Because there's rarely a sense of urgency about office suites.
I need
Spreadsheet.
Give me a spreadsheet.
You need it today.
But an incentive and urgency might be if we have a new version.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes.
I just have a question, like, when the newspaper offered you 1 free ad, maybe perhaps next time ask if you could have more than just one separated by a couple of weeks.
It was actually a special feature of the day to celebrate a kind of, I think it was 100 years or something like that. So it was a picture with many more advertising than usual. It was a bigger edition, so that's we just tried. I think that.
And it was done last minute.
Yeah. They probably had whole someone that was supposed to pay escaped at the last minute and got it for free, and it totally acceptable.
But yeah, I think you know, the storytelling with the fundraising, with everything, you know, before and around the ad.
It helps.
Yeah, that's and with the proper timing. As I said, this is my personal list of the existing challenges. So this is the moment where you guys get to speak. Sure.
Still on the newspaper ad.
You okay?
So, okay, it was a shop and it was available, so put something in there and it was product information or description of what the office is. So that can really only get to somebody who could download, who would be an individual. So that's not got any context or at all. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about the audience. Who we want? Do we want another individual to download LibreOffice, which we certainly absolutely do. But do we want to put this in context of maybe the healthcare sector could consider, maybe corporate business could look at, you know, should we
It was a mainstream day.
Yeah, it was a mainstream daily. It's called Die Zeit, which literally means the time, and it's exactly what it is. It's the mainstream daily served to.
So there was not a campaign with an offer, of course.
Yeah, it was literally like, hi, we are, you know, we serve, we work for Die Zeit, and we would like to offer you this.
No, more for the point of it was story based that another organisation implements LibreOffice. People go, well, what is LibreOffice?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's shocking that they've done that. Not LibreOffice is an office product that has a word processor and a spreadsheet. You know, that's not news really, is it? It's not.
Yeah, it's
For those people who know it,
it's a friendly
news. For those people who didn't know it, they've not read the advert anyway. Because it's not shocking, it's not.
I wanted to ask what basically the main target is right now. Is it to get, basically it's always to get more users or more support for the community or developers and so on. But is the main idea to get people to switch from Office? Because I think only most people have Office already. They get free versions or they have it at work or whatever.
So, I don't think you were here this morning. Okay, so essentially, it's very hard for a software like LibreOffice to have any sort of corporate like marketing strategies. And it's not just a matter of resources, it's actually that this thing has proven not to work. And the reason it has proven not to work is that we have about 11 years of experience of doing exactly that with OpenOffice already. We had collaterals for this, we had collaterals for that, we had specific pages for this market segment, and specific pages, you know, and advices for, and we had a whole bunch of storytelling and material. It just does not work. And when you're studying what's going on with other free software, one community, but there are in fact quite other examples of that, is Ubuntu. Ubuntu has a sense of marketing itself in an extraordinarily successful way. But aside from nice graphics, what are they doing that is actually marketing in terms of sales? Yeah, they only recognize everybody uses them here. This is so, don't think for a minute about your audience. However, what you do is that you think a lot about engaging people in your community. So yeah, so we kind of don't think about people having already Microsoft Office or having LibreOffice or it's because honestly we have to recognize that today LibreOffice is used by millions of people in a professional environment or in a completely home, business, whatever, university context. And so, you know, we could really describe entire case studies. Their impact would be limited. We may actually need to have some materials in case studies, but targeting a specific use cases is not exactly, you know, it's not so useful. It's not useful. But basically, so we're interested in growing our user base, yes. But with a big nuance, we're interested in growing our user base by growing our community. Yes?
Why are you so convinced that the work done with open office door communication didn't work at all? After all, they had a huge brand, they still have a huge brand, and there were some neat campaigns that I think were quite well covered. Was it drive test drive car, whatever? Mainly driven by our friends from okay, his name. We worked from marketing with the open office.
I think that what happened
and campaign, and when you have a neat campaign like that, it does have effect because we had the banners translated in Dutch and people used it on their website and posted it all and everywhere. So
yeah, so
things like that.
Yeah, so you're alluding to several things here. Giving people badges and materials and banners is definitely a good idea. That's definitely part of what we do and what we should do because we don't do it enough. That's true. Now, this being said, I think, but I'm not sure, you must be referring to the set of why open office art pages.
No.
Actually, I think that was not exactly what happened. I think what happened was a series of factors. For a certain while, OpenOffice.org was the only game in town when we were considering something else beside Microsoft Office, which is fine. But then there was also, and I must salute you, Cor and Sophie and others here in this room and outside this room, because for over 10 years, we liaised relations with governments. We created these relations. We showed that migrations were possible. And that ultimately drove the brand value of Office. That's because essentially it came at a moment where there was nothing else.
Yeah, but once you have balance, and it is linked to a certain campaign and a feeling campaign, that it's more than just a banner. So it's a combination that makes sense.
So what is your approach here? What do you specifically recommend?
I don't really remember the name at the moment. There were two campaigns. The first one hit the lines quite well, and well, I have to look it up. And it just as an idea, maybe we can do something along those lines. Because it also is a nice way to get people all around the world involved easily, because translating a banner in your own language isn't that much a hassle, and it does help. So.
And you said sounds good.
What?
Good. Good.
Yes.
You said you didn't have a special offer, but you've got the best special offer there is. I mean, it's free today, it's free tomorrow. It's always free. I mean, you could have an image of kind of a distinguished, dependable, trustworthy, white-haired guy with a beard, with a screen full of stuff, and you can have a young virile guy, technology coming out of his ears, over his shoulder, going, "How much did you pay for that?" And in the little 0.8 type free today, free tomorrow.
Yeah.
Enjoy the free.
So,
And the link.
The free messaging, of course, is complicated too, right?
yeah,
You have this
it's
whole thing between,
exactly.
you know, that we provide a copy for no cost, but free software, but, you know, no cost also means that's what, that you charge for that if you get it through TDF, but there are a lot of other parts of the ecosystem where you get it, you know, through there, through you know, you get it, does cost a little bit, but then you get these other benefits. So there are all these pieces to the ecosystem. I mean, it's complicated, right?
In fact, we already have something like this, because on the website, there's this, at the homepage, there's this carousel, this slider, and there is a free Office suite. I mean, you can literally see it in big, free Office suite. I'm not overly convinced it helped, I'm not saying it hurt it, but did it absolutely help our message? Yes, we must obviously push that. But what does zero mean? What does zero something mean? You know, you go to Facebook and that's free.
Yeah, so we're agreed there are multiple entry points and we should need to
Absolutely.
exploit all.
Yeah.
There's the cuddly animal entry point. I bought a postcard this morning down there which was the Bern bear,
Yeah,
but it was a cuddly little bear.
yeah.
So strap LibreOffice somewhere around its collar or hide it somewhere so you've got to look at it and think, why am I looking at this? LibreOffice are in Bern, get it?
4 channels in all this. 4 channels in all this. But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah.
I
That's
agree.
good idea.
Really awesome. No,
Go ahead, Sam.
Yes, so that's a really good discussion, first of all, I'm enjoying it. Also, I really like the Ask LibreOffice tweets. Personally, I think they're really great. I don't see them for other products of any sort very often, and people do have tons of questions about LibreOffice. It's a big technical thing, and people are always asking me questions. I love being able to refer them to that. It's a really proactive thing, so that's fantastic. Yeah, there are lots of obviously very difficult things here about promoting the brand. There are some things we're already doing, like more tie-ins with Dr. Freedom Day as a campaign that reaches 60 groups in 30 countries. You know, the Dr. Foundation is already doing stuff with some of those community groups to spread the brand. Something else, when I was working on an infographic recently, I really had some trouble to come up with creative symbols for some of the stuff around Office suites. Microsoft does a terrible job of this too, generally, I would say. Like, they have massive repositories of materials promoting Microsoft Office, but very little of it is actually visual about what the Office suite does. People's a picture. It's all stock photography.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all Americans with shiny teeth.
Yeah.
Sometimes with black eyes removed and whatever to fit their local needs. But some more visual stuff could only help. I mean, if you do an image search for LibreOffice on any search engine, you will find the icons, which are very nice, but basically nothing else. It's quite hard to paint an image of an Office suite with, you know, I mean, some of the iconography is also pretty old, especially databases. I think this is ancient symbology for databases, right? So yeah, it's expensive doing imagery, but we have a big community. Maybe there's some way to have a bounty or a contest, or I don't know,
So
the stuff we usually do.
definitely, I'm actually doing something here because I'm going to connect myself. I'm going to show you, show everyone something we did with.
While you are searching, with due respect and apologies, some nice female with some body paint LibreOffice on it or whatever with the good, of course.
So if you go with to the Discover section of the website, something I wanted to show you because we had a discussion when we did this Discover section. Discover section is essentially, okay, Lily, tell me what it is. And then you have a new feature, it's all inside the Discover section. And we have, module by module, application by application, some rough, okay, what's exciting? And indeed, what you're saying about Microsoft and how do you represent an Office suite is true. We don't know. I mean, what the hell? That's the only thing I can do to get to illustrate what is LibreOffice at this stage. It's complicated to do something else. So what we did was that we actually went even kind of abstract at some point. And we refused to do something which is to put screenshots of the software itself. So, let me show you. Let's say we're going on Calc. This is Calc. For each of the modules, you have, you have this kind of things. I like some of them more than others. This is Impress, for instance. This is math. I like math. Anyway, my point is this.
That's also
Okay, so you can feel free to visit it's the Discover section, it's all there. When we released the website, the first thing was, how in the world did you not put screenshots? People need to see what they're going to get, like what you're going to get a bar of gold when you're downloading an Office suite, and that was my first reaction. Now, eventually, we put the screenshots in a dedicated section so that people can see an Office suite with a screenshot, because it's very important, like in the Middle Age, to witness the king having dinner, and this is the king, he's having dinner. So we do have that, but you're right, and I think, you see, there you have everything.
It exists.
Yeah, it exists.
I mean, the screenshots are important, right? Because screenshots are an easy way for people to see that something's in vaporware, right? I mean, really, it's the first check. Like, how many? Someone copy is easy to write.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone can write something. I've written all kinds of amazing things, and some people won't even believe me. But it's much harder to mock up, 20 different interfaces on a couple different OSs. And this tells people that you can, create things with different colors and bar charts and everything. That, pictures worth 1,000 words.
Were you the guy shouting about mail to Charles that screenshots were meant to
I was not fast.
You wasn't shouting.
No, but it's funny. There's a funny thing. And again, that's based on your feedback. When we did when I worked, especially on the new website design, I spent quite a lot of time, and not to get inspiration, but I spent quite a lot of time studying the Microsoft Office website, because you can hate Microsoft. You can like Microsoft, but at some point they must be doing something right. It's not just about a dominant position. It's also about something else. You can't do just crap. So I went there, and my findings were interesting. I'm not suggesting the debate is not about did I like their website, did I not like their website, I don't care, it's out of the picture. But what I found there was actually very interesting. So here's what I found. No product information. I mean, seriously. You don't believe you go to the Microsoft Office website. There's no, okay, it's going to help you be a better person.
But, maybe they don't need it, and we do need it, but please go on.
Okay. You're going to be a better person. Microsoft Office 2013 is 10 times better than everything else you have seen before. Sorry, I have to tell you this joke, because that's a joke that has been running. Yeah, you know sense. So the thing is, and I'm not going to tell you the entire joke, but basically, at the end of the day, they each tell their experiences with their wives, spouses, or girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. And at the end, the guy from Microsoft essentially says, well, when we're having sex, I'm just sitting on the bed and explaining how good it's going to get the next time. So, yeah, it felt a little bit like this. But on the other hand, the website and the messaging itself was very, very, very polished. Yes?
It's aspirational marketing. It really is.
Yeah.
It's if you aspire to this product, it will improve your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a premium product. It's like, you know, you don't need to know what it does. It's a Ferrari.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, it speaks for itself. Okay.
And so to answer you, Gore, I mean, I'm going to just finish talking about the Office website really quick. What I found was no screenshot. Everything was in abstract, pretty much what we tried to do, so to speak, in the Discover section. The message is really based on the perceived needs, like be more productive with your business application or something like that. And so it really got me thinking a long time about this. Now, to your objection, like they don't need it and we need it. A few years ago, I started to have a conversation with someone inside the French government. That was 6 years ago, 7. And his entire beef, so to speak, for not migrating to, at that time, OpenOffice was that there was something that was not really, I wouldn't say implemented, it just was implemented in a different way in the spreadsheet. Like he wanted to have something that would just be just like Excel, and we didn't have that, we did it differently. After a while, that finally got implemented just like in Excel. So I went back to him and said, so, you know, this is here, this is it, this is stable. And then he told me, yeah, but now you know, we're really looking to Google Docs. So Google Docs is so great. It's a pity that they're refused to have a self-hosting it, but Google Docs again. And I was like, not to criticize it.
No, I don't use I use LibreOffice.
Thank you, but no, Jeremy, the point was this. Here's a man who tell me about a rather technical feature in the spreadsheet. And then a few years afterwards, when everything is ready, when he's about to do something and make a decision or influence the decision, then he basically tells me, oh yeah, well, the state of the art has changed. Maybe that's the fashion that's changed.
Well, it's the fashion. He's also looking for protection.
Yeah, exactly.
He's looking to have no consequences for his decisions.
And therefore, fear is a factor. Fear.
So in terms of architecture,
yeah.
the one I would look at, and just for, not for specifics about Office suites, but for an understanding of branding, is look at Hertz and Avis. Look at Hertz and Avis websites.
Okay.
Because Hertz is number 1, right?
Yeah.
And Avis's branding is around, we're not number 1, we're number 2.
Okay.
But we kind of try on that. And so, if I were you, I would take a look at Avis. I mean, this is essentially just what I've heard about, which is
we try our.
But Avis's marketing is built around the fact that they are number 2, they know they're number 2, and it's more of a comparative message.
Yeah.
And that.
So it looks.
I don't know whether that will happen. Because I haven't looked myself.
I think that's okay. So for the record, we do have and maintain, but that's on the wiki, so it's not imperative. Yeah. But I mean, the full thing, this is not a catchy sentence here. The full thing, like you have like feature per feature comparison, which is good. But it still does not deliver a message. It's a great piece of information because the information you get out of it is, oh, they're not that bad. In fact, they're quite good. However, I think what I take from this is that we may need to have what I would call a channel communication. That is, there should be at some point something in our message that comes perhaps as a form of material that says, okay, now for professional users, this is what we offer.
So I mean, the message, the strong message, I think that might work best against Microsoft Office is, I mean, essentially Microsoft Office is, we don't have to try, we understand that, we have everything we need. So if you are going to position yourself against something like that, the message has to be, we respond. You have any issues, we fix them. Do you know what I mean? So the message has to be more about
do we fix it?
Well,
I mean seriously, do we fix it?
No, well, look at the OXML thing, look at the list of fixes, etc. It definitely does get fixed, and really rapidly. So maybe the marketing should be around, whereas you will never, because you don't want to talk about bugs, but essentially, so the marketing message has to be around supported, fully supported. And
Okay.
and the support is really the key.
So what's also in your idea is that you basically hook all the factors or second. Talking about press releases, when you have a nice story and you mention Microsoft in the first 2 lines, there's a good chance that a journalist will pick it up because Microsoft is mentioned. And they pick it up not because LibreOffice is great, but because etc. So when you use the fact that you are close to Microsoft and
I hate talking about Microsoft in
Yes.
marketing. You don't want to do that because you've lost the battle when you talk about your competitors. That's when I knew they started taking LibreOffice seriously, was when they started criticizing LibreOffice, specifically my name.
They couldn't just wave their hand and say, like, there are other options.
That's right, yeah. That's like, oh, okay, they're really hurting me. So, don't talk about it, but if you can push fully supported in some way, or support, or,
Right.
responsive. Don't mention the name, of course.
Yeah.
Use it.
But the thing is, so you're playing with the perceptions there of Microsoft as a behemoth that doesn't respond, as a black hole for which you have issues, and it's like, well, the next version may fix it, may not, who knows. No one ever submits a bug to Microsoft and expects it to get fixed. I mean, it's
Right.
It was a huge contract.
Yeah.
That's like that.
So it's kind of like this responsive, supported, faster moving somehow. These are the kind of ideas that.
So did you ever get your bug fixed in your Office suite?
Well, you don't want to talk about bugs. You don't want to talk. You want to talk about support.
Well,
responsive.
So, right, I was going to say, one thing we can do, right, in speaking about that, is that if we do try to identify or look at what we can provide that they either can't or aren't providing, we can start to change that dialogue. And we have in some ways. I mean, this is why, Microsoft Office has ODF support today.
Yes.
People look and they say, oh, Microsoft Office is still a dominant player. So they're supporting open document format. I see that as a huge win. Like, regardless of what we do from this point forward, that's a huge win. So, on my balance sheet, we've been doing a lot of amazing things. It's maybe difficult for people who aren't as cognizant of what's going on. So, that's the type of success we can build on. And if we say, one should have, and then list the feature or advertise it, then that's something that we're, again, if we're being taken seriously on the market, is something that then you have a discussion point.
Right. So, can we not say that we're second? Can we not find a way of saying we're just as good? Because one of the fears of we can't let go of Microsoft Office is because the alternative must be a lesser product. It won't do exactly. So there's an image of two poker hands. One happens to have the icons for the suits that are writer and calc and impress. The other has the icons that are the Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So it's you've got to know what you're looking at. But the guy playing the LibreOffice cards, you see, I play regular. I don't release in my hand, but I never have to lose money.
Yeah.
Well, I play regular. I don't see my hand. It does what I need it to do. It's
So maybe instead of saying the number 2, they just say we try hard. They never say they don't have to
We
just
try
say,
hard, yes.
I'm saying
That's
we just as good as.
Well,
You can use this hand, you can use that hand, you play the same game. Just as good.
Go ahead. To build on Jeremy's idea of support, I think for people it's not about features, which an office has or hasn't, but rather about how to use, how to solve that particular problem.
because the guy you talked to, what he was looking for was
There's a really strong concept of LibreOffice that has a community. in which people actually support you because they want to be a community, they want to be helpful, versus Microsoft Office where you have to search in forums which are, like set up by different people, there's no central point of the service. So I think
Because the community thing plays so
Express
much
is support by community,
Yes.
supported by a huge vibrant community of active helpers. This point, like not only it's got all the features you need and all the help you might want. So this is what this
Yes.
Mark, what is it?
Well, I just wanted to say that I think we've gotten to the point where even though we're not servicing the same amount of users, but I think we've gotten to the point where we're no longer following, we're actually leading. And so Microsoft is the one trying to keep up with us. So in my view, what we should be really pushing is the fact that we are now leading and Microsoft is following. And I agree as far as getting the message that we offer support. But for a regular user and a company, I think pushing the idea that a community is offering the support can be a little scary. But on the other hand, if we pass the message on that the support is coming from LibreOffice, that's big. And sure, we can mention a bit of the community being part of the support, but using our brand, LibreOffice, as offering the support. I mean, behind the scenes, sure, we are having the community giving the support and the other tools, site and everything. But I think we're beyond the point where we need to mention Microsoft. I mean, they are following us now. They see the writing's on the wall. They know what's happening. They know that LibreOffice has bitten at their heels, and now I don't think we need to bite that hard at their heels. We're now leading in. They've had to offer ODF support. ODF is now being picked up by countries, not just little associations, but I mean countries are now adopting. And so they know that LibreOffice is slowly being adopted. So sure, their 365 is trying to wrap people around, but I think we should lead by they're following us, and we're now the innovative group in Office.
I'm going to ask you, I'm sorry, because the time is running. Still asking for your input. Action items. So just so that you know, these aren't mine. We're going to add more to this. Testing Redmine for internal marketing communication. Sorry, this is not a marketing strategy, but I had to tell you about this.
It's on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Right.
That is on my no, it's fine. This is on my to-do list. Here's the thing: the design team has done justice, and they just decided to effectively drop the mailing list and go completely over to Redmine. So I will write this, of course, but the idea would be to test it for a month, just like they've done, see how we work, how we feel about this, and then move on. Yes, Sophie?
You can have an overview of how it works with the design team was completely moved to Redmine wiki, forum, and tickets.
Okay. Social media. Does anybody have any questions or things on social media? No. So I'm sure there's some tools.
Yeah, well, that was actually what I was going to ask about. So, this is a sort of a tough piece because there are a lot of people out there that are very happy and experienced users of LibreOffice and other tools, but they have problems with a lot of the existing social media out there.
Yeah.
So I play this interesting game where, the vast bulk of everything, happening in social media is on proprietary silos of information.
Right.
So it's like, this is a difficult situation. I don't want people to be forced to use social media. I was going to a conference recently, and half of the information, it was a Freedom Source Software conference.
Yeah.
I'll let you guess what the name it was. And basically, but half of the information was available only on Facebook. like, this is really difficult if, to get a lot of people to be supporters in, if we migrate a certain portion of our message, especially if we don't duplicate it then, on proprietary platforms. So this is, I mean, I don't have an answer for this, but.
Yeah, so I have an answer for that. I'm sorry if it may seem a little bit, it's not brutal, but one thing, we do not, and I mean, if we have done this, and I'm sorry, it will be corrected because this will not be acceptable, we do not lock the information onto your social media. That is not something we're interested in doing. And if, as you said, I know. I mean, I'm
I don't know if we have, I'm just saying, it's easy to.
It's very easy to.
You know, you send tweets or you.
Yeah, I'm
you know,
witnessing a weird trend now, which is that we had, groups contacting us from somewhere in Asia that wanted to participate in the office. And they had a very nice message, and then they said, you can check our website. And then, website is a Facebook page. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, And this is like the second time it happens from 2 different regions in the world, and I find this very troublesome when it comes to concern. So we're not doing this. However, what we're doing, we were mentioning the Twitter and the Google Plus community as being very lively communities. Yes, they happen to be very lively communities, and yes, you happen to be prompted to log into these services that we, aka the Document Foundation, do not control. I realize this is not diaspora, but the same people who are not following Twitter, they're not going to follow diaspora either. So I think it's essentially a problem that is as simple and as inextricable as people who will tell you and who will tell you in the 20s that they were not going to listen to that crap on the radio. I'm not saying there are retarded people who refuse the progress. All I'm saying is that some of these things happen to be on the social media. That's what I'm saying. We just have to be extremely careful about not losing factual information that could be on the wiki, that could be on the website, that could be on mailing list for that matter. Probably they will miss everything. They will get a text message. They will not get the entire conversation. But it's fine otherwise. Short collateral on TDF. Sorry, I was typing on really like a note-taking thing. Short collateral on TDF. Yes, not a LibreOffice. This is a to-do list for you and me and the design team. Short 1-2-page maximum thing explaining what TDF is. Banners and online materials. So, core, we discussed about that. So, yes. Anything? Yes.
It was a campaign Get the Facts back in 2006 and 2008 by John McCrease. I think he was one of the leading guys on that. And the good thing was that it made use of the fact that no get legal when it was get legal. It made use of the fact that there was a campaign for legal office, whatever.
Yeah.
So it made use of something that was in the media, and maybe there is something else from the competitors that we can hook on, whatever. But
yeah. I think you're making a very good point. You find it back. It's because we answered, but we created something. I wouldn't say a bit crazy, but we created something that was really a conversation, not just with the audience, but with Microsoft. And we just said, hey, you know what? Get legal. So it doesn't happen at every corner, nor does it happen every month.
But
sometimes, yeah.
When I look to the conversation in the last half hour, I heard a bunch of nice ideas, good remarks that we can look over and that we can use now or in half a year or within a year to do maybe a campaign or whatever. Because I think there's some really useful stuff going on here.
Definitely, it's good. Definitely. Anybody else has an action item? Yes,
there are two things. Exactly. We need to get more proactive with booth kits.
With
booth kits. Because, like for example, if we're going to talk about our region, like the American side, I think that we should have like booth kit. So whenever you go to conference,
Yeah.
you don't need to ask for it, you have it. Like there, it's there. You're ready to go to a conference and you have a banner.
It's good. Sophie, didn't the board decide on something here, Robinson?
Robinson is fully operational.
Robinson is your book.
The Booth Kit in America is fully operational as of a week ago, and is en route to Orlando as we speak, and we'll join you there on Monday.
And how many do you have? How many booth kits do you have?
We have one, and I'm currently building the second one with Rob all over Europe, and we'll probably deliver it to Fosno. So,
There is one for US and one for Europe.
yeah.
So maybe we would need more. Maybe like one.
Yeah.
We could maybe use one. We could use one.
Let's have this one.
Okay. Let's.
Let's start with one.
And you had another one.
The other one is that the biggest problem we have with the marketing section is that the design team, they're interested in doing UI stuff. They're interested in doing other stuff, but designing for marketing, we only have one person helping out.
Yeah.
And he does it only because no one else is doing it. So we need to try to encourage people to join up for a design team for marketing.
Yes.
Because I mean the UI team, they're busy with their stuff. They're not interested. They're simply
Do
not.
you know how many people there is in the design team? Do you know?
I have 5 or 6.
No.
One? Three. Right.
Yeah, so we could grow that team. That's just,
Yeah.
That's true. On the other hand,
Yes, Robinson.
let me remember what it was.
and here also we also can encourage people that are not really skilled in design, but do something that they don't feel shy just to do what they can and use it for time being.
As long as you get something clean at the end.
And then, well, it's a process. The product grows over time. From the marketing material, we start.
Yeah, I like us, let's all remember that thanks to one of our...
So if I have a booth, it's better to have a flyer that's not perfect than have no flyer at all.
I don't agree with that.
I know.
You don't need the design teams for that.
So more streamlined ability for people to attend events and broadcast that. So, for example, we have a few pieces, but sometimes you'll get maybe sometimes a conference will say like, here's a little logo for all be attending, FOSSACon or whatever. So I know we have some mechanisms, but and I think there's probably a couple bugs I file, but we need to get that, make that a simple setup so that we can schedule, the week before a given conference, this badge will appear on our websites or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing, because honestly, folks, if we manage to do this in 1 year, we're going to be good. So, one more action item before we call it a day.
So I'm going to talk a little tomorrow about.
I will be away, actually.
Okay, but so I'm going to talk about community outreach, etc., which is what I've been doing this year in America, and sort of one of the giving away the point is just running events. And specifically, Sam was mentioning Dr. Freedom Day and South Freedom Day are great times to pull people together in the community. And I'm going to take a mental snapshot of everyone here, and check in with you, make sure you're actually participating and making sure it's happening. Because at least in North America, for example, there are like 5 on the map, like events on the map right now, and that should be like 50. And hopefully there should be someone who knows the rock is there, pinging people. Right? So, yeah.
Folks, thank you very much. And